All right, hi. If you see me fiddling with this, what looks like something I caught in the basement, I was told I have to hold this, so don't mind me if I get distracted. But
You look in there. That's sort of
I
the.
know,
No,
I
don't
know.
look at yourself.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I'm not used to doing this. Hi, guys. I'm Lee, here to share part of my story. We wanted to do this. I'm about to go through another serious cancer treatment that not a lot of people get to go through. And I have the unique, probably, experience that this will be my second time. So looking back, I wanted to record something, share my story. First time I did this, but we just didn't materialize.
You don't know what you don't know.
Yeah. But now I know I was diagnosed over 3 years ago with metastatic melanoma. And I've learned a lot on this journey. And some things great, some things not so great. But these are lessons that if I've learned them, that means somebody else probably has to learn them too. And if I can pass on what I've learned, good, bad, or otherwise, and it helps just one person, that's what I want to do. I want this to be worth something. All of this experience.
Focusing
Yeah.
on your face, not mine.
But yeah, a little background on me. I was diagnosed at the end of 2022. It was very unexpected. Just it started with a lump. Had a spot right here by my ear. And at the time, would I have imagined that's what this was? No. I thought I had like a cyst. I would have never thought that months afterwards, of starting to see the doctors about it, that I'd get the call that, hey, this is cancer. And the doctor said, well, we're going to be putting a referral in to the James. I live here in Columbus, Ohio, so the James is our top cancer hospital treatment center here. And they said things were going to move quickly. And boy, did they ever. I've gone through a lot of different treatments over these years. I've had a lot of different issues, complications. I've done immunotherapy, lots of different versions of it that's now first line treatment. I've also had many courses of radiation because I've had tumors that have come up that have been resistant, haven't been responding to immunotherapy. That's been the journey over this past year. I've had 3 brain surgeries 2 years ago now for a lesion that kept coming back in my right temporal lobe. And now I'm about to go through a cell therapy again called TIL. And it's something that I went through almost 3 years ago to the day. It was on a clinical trial back when I was really, really early into this. And that was before it was an approved treatment. I was part of that. I got it in 2023, and a year later it was FDA approved. But not FDA approved in the sense of we're going to put this front of the line to treat patients with solid tumors, especially melanoma. It's where it ends up falling with how insurances want to handle things. It's the last thing. You have to basically ran out of options. And I've done a lot. I've done the oral BRAF MEK inhibitors that used to be the only thing that we used for melanoma. I've done a couple rounds of Temodar, another oral chemo medication that used to be and still is part of the options, but not number one anymore. That's immunotherapy. But here we are, TIL Part Two. And so you'll hear me say TIL a lot.
That means tumor infiltrating lymphocyte Therapy, TIL, which I don't think anybody no one we know of that has done this twice, and no one that these doctors know of have done this twice, which is a very unique position to be in. And it's good and bad because you don't want to have to go through this twice. And I remember the first time it was almost 3 years ago, exactly to the month, that Lee was going through this the first time. And we were thinking, oh my gosh, well, at least we're getting the worst treatment out of the way now. And then we never have to do this again. I remember thinking those things. And given how the rest of the next 3 years went, first, I don't think that TIL was the worst thing that you went through. No. We just didn't know it. And I had no idea we'd have the opportunity to do the TIL again, or the chance to do it. But it was just because of the loophole of having done it as part of a clinical trial and now doing it as regular standard of care as an FDA-approved treatment. And that's not to say the approval was immediate. It actually took weeks and weeks to get the treatment approved. But Lee's team was really good about tracking that down and advocating for him, which we can get into all of that in subsequent videos. And we'd love to get more into detail about the treatments you've received. Mm-hmm. But we're kind of starting this of, here's where we are now. Here's what's happening in how many days? What's today?
Gosh.
Just
Sunday. 3 more days.
Yeah,
3 more days I go
in. Lee is going to go in the hospital. So we really waited till the last minute to start vlogging about this. But here's the thing. We are not the same people that we were when this started. We're not in the same mindset. We were very private about this for a long time for a lot of different reasons. But first and foremost, just not to overwhelm our friends, our community, and to keep some peace surrounding what very little time we do have to relax. And I think in coming forward and sharing the story, we've shown that people can show up for us, which is very important for us to realize because we're both people who don't ask for help a lot. And also to be vulnerable and share the experience so that it might actually help someone else. Because I think you were the one who said we should share this story because I don't think anyone has gone through this twice.
Yeah, no, it's definitely, for me, so long when I first started this. In the back of my mind, I had a lot going on. I was in school to become a pharmacist, which I managed.
And we'll get into a whole video about origin stories.
But I was in school. My mentality, I'm sure a lot of people can relate to this. My mentality was, this can't be happening to me. I'm not going to give it any energy, any thought. God, if I just ignore it, it'll go away. And that's when the news came out and more people found out that I had my diagnosis. It caught so many people off guard and honestly offended a lot of people because they felt like I had been hiding it because it was months later. It was when I didn't have the opportunity to hide it anymore because, surprise, I'm going into the hospital for chemotherapy and a cell therapy that nobody understands what it means. You can't hide things. But even more recently, I still hide it because I never wanted it to become part of my identity. But the cat's out of the bag. A lot of people know.
Not this cat. This is a dead cat, by the way. Lee was very entertained to find out that this was called a dead cat.
No cats died making this microphone. I want to be very clear. It's a term. I had to Google it to make sure that she wasn't pulling my leg. But no, it's just looking at things now and realizing that my experience, sure, has been unique, but there's going to be a lot of people that are either going through what I'm going through in some form or another, or could, or know somebody that is. And maybe me talking about it, being candid, being open, vulnerable, try to put some humor in it because this isn't always a humorous topic, but just being real, maybe that'll help, even if it's just one person.
So I'm Lee's wife. Maybe that wasn't obvious. I'm Daisy. And
She said yes.
I think we agreed that it takes two of us to tell this story because there are obviously parts of it that Lee was unconscious for. I'm sorry. Like I said, sometimes you have to laugh because you just don't know what else to do. That is a very human reaction. So we do, we have, other than the cancer thing, we have decently normal personalities, I would say. What was I saying? It
Takes two to tango. It takes two to tell the story.
It takes two to tell the story. And, as the perspective of the caregiver, which I have feelings about that word, but that's a word for another video. Because we are both caregivers of each other. And you have also been I would say, the lead advocate in your care because of your knowledge and your healthcare expertise, which is yet one more reason why I think he should be sharing his experience. Lee is a full-time working pharmacist, and he is a Army veteran medic and just knows a lot about a lot of things from personal experience and also just the healthcare system from every aspect. And I think that's valuable and why you also wanted to share. So I think our plan for these videos is to do a lot like this, where we're just talking about what we know, different topics, share as much history as we can and what we remember about the things you've gone through, what to expect, and just like let you behind the scenes more. And that's going to be uncomfortable sometimes. I'm not going to sugarcoat anything. I don't think that would serve anybody. There are things that might be really scary to hear, especially if you're going through if you've just been diagnosed and you feel like you have these things on your horizon. They might feel very scary, but Lee has been through the absolute worst hell of what this disease can do, and he is sitting here able to form thoughts. He is not a vegetable. He is able to work full time. And yes, our lives look very different than what they looked like before. Our day-to-day might be a little different. How we communicate, how we work through things is different because there are lasting effects of going through cancer treatment. But you live a very full life. And you're going to live a very full, long one for hopefully decades, unfortunately for me.
You're stuck with me.
But that's just the reality of it. It's very complex. It's very multi-layered, and we're going to get into all of it. And I also don't want you to think we're making light of a situation, but I think that it is human to still have your regular personalities, your annoyances with each other, your problems, even in the light of a stage 4 cancer diagnosis. It doesn't change the fact that you're also people outside of it. You don't become the thing, hopefully. And hopefully we can show you that that could be your future. You can still develop a whole personality separate from the cancer and still try to live your life as 30-something-year-olds. What age were you diagnosed? 30? How old are you now?
I'm 36. So I was, gosh, it was November of 22 when I was diagnosed. So that would have been 33.
Okay.
You can never keep my date of birth correct.
I can't. I really can't. It doesn't matter. But, I'll be 35 in May. And I think, I feel like most of my 30s has been defined by this story. So it's a very unique situation. So hopefully we do a decent job at remembering recalling, I know we were certainly remember the most dramatic highs and lows. I do wish we had kept a better diary of our thoughts as we were going through things. It's still, parts of it still feel very fresh, parts of it feel very far away. When I think about the first time you went through this TIL treatment, that feels like another lifetime ago. I remember some things about it, but other things like exactly how I was feeling during certain parts of it are hazy. So documenting is good. If you only do it for yourself, that would be the advice that I would give for anyone going through this, young, old, or otherwise. Keep track of your thoughts.
Yeah.
It's one of
Well,
your
and that's,
biggest regret. I hate saying regrets, but you kind of shared with me that you wished you had journaled more so that in doing this now, you could remember your feelings during certain times.
yeah, and that's something I want to say that you're coming with me along for the ride day to day in what's about to happen. It's gonna be a lot, and I'm sure each day is gonna bring back memories, bring back some of those feelings as I go through this one more time. And it's just talk broad strokes what this looks like. This looks like rounds of chemo because you got to make room in my immune system for these cells. That
Actually, yes. Do you want to explain like the brief?
Yeah,
Oh, here I have crib notes for you.
it's good. I don't
Oh, and
need.
I even have dates written down. Look, I've got you on. Here you go.
I didn't realize that I was gonna be put on this much on the spot.
The notes were really for me because I can't keep anything straight. But
I'll be honest. Yes, I am a pharmacist. I will do my best to not speak medical lingo this entire time
well,
and
no, you
make
can
this,
no do you can
but
speak the medical lingo, but
I want to make sure that this is relatable and understandable.
yes.
The broad strokes of what this therapy is that they've taken a tumor lesion from my body, and the idea behind the therapy is to the company that makes the drug goes in, looks for immune cells called T cells that are inside that tumor, recognizing cancer as cancer. Cancer has a lot of ways where it can evade our own immune system. It's like flashing the bouncer a fake ID and it just lets you into the party when you're not that person. That's kind of cancer in a nutshell. But these T cells, the science behind it and the hope is that these T cells that they're pulling out of this tumor are recognizing tumor is tumor, bad is bad. So they isolate them, grow up a whole lot of them in the lab. We're talking millions of cells.
Billions.
Yeah.
Billions.
And by giving me chemo, it makes room in my immune system. So then I'm given the cells that have been grown in the lab. They give them to me by IV. And then I go through rounds of medication called IL-2 that are interleukin 2 that what that does is think of it as like waking up and revving up your immune system. So we've just gotten all of these new immune cells, and my immune system's been put down in the basement by the chemo. But now we need to wake it all up to tell my immune system, hey, we got to get to work. And we got to let these new cells kind of establish themselves and continue to replicate naturally. The idea being if I've been given a bunch of cells that recognize that cancer is cancer, then they're going to do their job, hopefully, and go throughout my entire body, everywhere that the immune system touches, which is everywhere, and look for and recognize cancer cells as cancer.
Yeah.
And this time being what we've taken is this, we think what's happened over time is that through all the treatments I've gone through, cancer can have different cell lines. Like it can develop resistance. And think of it as like all of the cells that were vulnerable to immunotherapy or some of the other treatments I've done have been controlled or died. But the ones that have developed resistance are the ones that keep popping up. So the idea is that if we're taking this tumor that didn't respond to immunotherapy, but we know it's of the same cell line, we've done the same genetics testing, we know it's melanoma, it's not something new, that we are now with this TIL targeting this resistant cell line. And we're going to go after this and knock it out. That's the hope.
Yeah, I mean, I think you did a really good job at describing it, but if I were to describe it to a someone who is non-medical or has never heard of this, it's basically taking a process that is already happening naturally in your body, like your T cells that are trying to attack the tumors, but they're not doing a good enough job. You are giving them a massive boost, and you are also kind of resetting the body to provide the optimal environment for those cells to be the number one ass kicker that is going on in there. So it is kind of like a reset. And that's kind of an interesting topic. I don't know if we should get all into it today, but Lee will have to get all of his childhood vaccinations again after this treatment. I have been reading a lot of research that in the event that the T cells themselves don't eradicate the cancer, or Lee needs more cancer treatment later down the line, it's kind of almost like your body doesn't remember it anymore. You've kind of reset your body in such a way that if you need to do one of those immunotherapy drugs again, it could be effective when before it stopped working. This treatment isn't just, does it work by itself or does it not? It's a lot more complicated than that, which I didn't realize the first time you went through that, but it does open the door for trying other things later. So it's not like this works or it doesn't, and then that's it for you. Sorry to be blunt.
No.
I just want to be clear, because I know people are thinking it like, oh, is this the last possible thing that they can try because everything else has failed? No, it's really not like that anymore. Maybe it was a few years ago, but melanoma treatment is constantly changing and being improved and developed. And I feel like every week I'm learning about some new thing they're doing. So there's really a lot of different ways to go about fighting this. And to this point, I think you've experienced all of them outside of newer clinical trials. And I also don't think we mentioned that the first time you went through this TIL treatment, it was being tested as a first line treatment in patients that hadn't had the plethora of immunotherapies and all that stuff. So they wanted a fresh body, so to speak, that didn't have anything wrong with it other than having a couple little tumors in there. And I believe, I'd have to check this, if it is FDA approved as a first line treatment now, or they're still doing trials for it.
I don't think so yet.
Yeah, I'm not sure. Don't quote me on that. But it is FDA approved as a treatment for people who have failed other immunotherapies.
Let's not say failed. Let's say didn't respond.
Didn't respond. And that's the thing that's also interesting. Immunotherapy is not like a pass fail. Not in your case.
No. It's just
we'll get into that in another video, because Lee is a very interesting case. His cancer has reacted differently throughout this process, especially depending on where it was. There have been some tumors that pop up and then resolve themselves or start to get smaller on their own. So it's so nuanced. Melanoma is a weird cancer that doesn't really follow any rules. So that's important to know before you watch our videos. It's kind of all over the place. But that's why it's important.
Yeah.
A little bit of each of this will help somebody.
Yeah, I promise no not to turn this into a very science heavy TED talk, but if that's what what you would like, I can certainly add some of that in. I have a lot of unique knowledge being somebody in the medical field and going through this. I may not work with patients going through cancer treatment on a day-to-day basis, but I work alongside people that do, and I'm also the patient. So some of my friends take care of me. But yeah, I can add that in. I can sprinkle that in. I just don't want it to be all of this. That's some extra knowledge can be useful. I just don't want to put you to sleep with it. But really the big thing here that I want to get across is this is also a way for me to acknowledge all the steps that have gotten me here. I'm here. I'm still here 3 years later, more than 3 years. But there were times I worried that I wasn't going to be. There were times I wondered if there was a tomorrow. And there's going to be you're going to get some raw emotion through this. You may find out things, if our friends watch this, you may find out things that I never shared, but that's okay. It's not on you. That's on me.
It's not on you either.
Yeah. But this is
neither here nor there. It's going to be out there.
This is a way I want to say thank you to everyone that's been with us along the way, that's helped us in both big and little ways,
and continues to help us.
Yeah,
keeping us sane.
The people that will come into our lives in the coming days, weeks, months, beyond, and also just to let people know if this is something that you're going through or you're worried about or somebody that's going through, maybe this is a little way that I can help you not feel alone. And because I know that can happen. I know that you can feel that way sometimes. I'm sure Daisy's felt that way. And I know I've felt that way. That why me? Well, how can this happen to me? And there's no one like me out there that's going through this. So take it from a mid to elder millennial that we process things differently.
Again? How old are you again?
Write this down. I'm 36. I'm going to tattoo it on my forehead.
They get very confused at the grocery store when Lee tries to check out with alcohol. They go through this like internal question. They're like, I don't think I need to ID him.
All right, let's be real. For those that don't know me, I did not have this lovely white hair a year ago.
That was actually very recent.
This was my hair color. So this hairdo that I'm sure some people think I paid a lot of money for, I did not. It came as a side effect. So
I think you're bumping.
We'll talk about that.
Don't bump the table.
I'm not intending to bump the table.
Yeah, this was a very convoluted, all over the place first video, but I wanted to just explain kind of what our plan is, and that's to document as much as possible in whatever form we need to that doesn't stress us out or add one more job for me. Mm-hmm. But this is really important. So it is taking a priority, especially over this next month. We want to catch up, tell the important stories we have to tell so that they're recorded and they're out here. And we'll divide those into videos that make the most sense to keep together. But this one is kind of all over the place. But yeah, if you sat here for this entire video, we're very thankful that you did and that you care about us and you care about this guy right here and his story, because he has a lot of good things to say. That's the thing. When Lee talks, everyone listens. Except me. I just talk right over it.
Meanwhile, I hate the sound of my own voice.
I love it.
I think everybody can relate to that.
I think one of your videos will just record you reading Goodnight Moon with like a calm light and like relaxing music and maybe like a waterfall trickling.
I'm not sure if this is for other people's consumption or just for you.
Mine. Yeah, hopefully we're a smidgen entertaining.
One of us truly is.
You have anything else you want to say in this video?
No, I think they heard people listen to me talk long enough.
Okay, guys, we'll check in soon.
Thanks. Bye.